I would like to introduce our next speaker. Mr. Frank Spula is a native of Chicago. He has his graduate degrees from DePaul University. His professional career is in commercial life insurance business, and President Frank Spula has been elected as president of the Polish National Alliance for the first time to this position as president in 2005, and then he was re-elected to the position of the president of the Polish National Alliance in 2007, and re-elected again just this August 2011. Congratulations. President Frank Spula also serves as the national president of the Polish American Congress, and I'm very pleased to welcome President Spula.
Good morning, Mr. President, Madam Schoenert, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be here this morning and participate in such a historical event in this building, specifically in this building. Because a lot of the investigation was really all the hearings, many hearings were taking place right here. I think the President really put it in a nutshell concerning this entire situation about Katyn that we've talked or heard so much about for the past numerous years. I thank Ms. Maria Schoenert for her gracious invitation and all the time and her committee has spent on this project. Today we have in our midst Ms. Aurelia Kuczynski, Circuit Court Judge in the City of Chicago and the daughter of the late Congressman Roman Kuczynski, who was responsible for the congressional investigation of the Katyn massacre many, many years ago in 1952. Way before the Soviets' war crime could even be mentioned openly in Poland. On behalf of the Polish American Congress, I am grateful we have such dedicated individuals that drive our community. And they really are, quote, patriots within ourselves, within our midst. As a Polish American, Katyn has a distinctive relevance for me. I was one of the invited guests on President Kuczynski's plane last year to commemorate the anniversary of Katyn. Fortunately for me, I was unable to attend. As you know, 96 other individuals perished in that tragic accident. You know, many luminaries within the government of Poland and many outstanding citizens, one of which was a citizen from Chicago who was a moving force to build the monument that we have in our own city of Niles. For all these years, the issues of Katyn has been spoken to the Polish community, here as well as in Poland. Privately, during the communistic era, in people's homes, and after the fall of communism, it became a household word. What happened? Why did it happen? And who's responsible? Prior to that, people couldn't talk. They were forbidden to talk, otherwise they wouldn't get anywhere. Either they would be in prison or maybe even put to death. In recent years, we've seen monuments erected on the shores of New Jersey, Baltimore, and recently the suburb of Niles to commemorate the 22,000 executed soldiers, the generals, the colonels, the majors, physicians, professors, the list is endless. The massacre of Polish officers has the same importance to us as the Holocaust has to the Jewish community. Same relevance. We'll never forget. The Polish community can never forget this atrocity that occurred, or I should say a crime against humanity. We take a look at this monument that's really on the shores of Baltimore. It's a tribute. We need to have monuments like this across the country as a reflection of what occurred in the past. We're fortunate to have within our community people that continue with this story. We have Mr. Andrzej Wajda, a famous renowned film director, an Academy Award winner who developed a film in in 1940 of the massacre. One of the officers murdered was his father, Mr. Jakub Wajda. His film brought world attention to the genocide. At the same time, it has brought a small measure of rest to the victims, to their families, and the history of the Polish nation. The meaning of Katyn is so important to the Polish community because of all the deaths of thousands of individuals who were masked in silence for all these years. For 50 years, the people of Poland knew the truth of the massacres, but had to lie about it because of an official requirement of the Soviet control. In many cases, to gain immunity or advancement in post-war Poland required parents and children and members to remain silent about their faiths. A couple of months ago, I had the opportunity to meet a young director and a producer, Piotr Usarowicz of California, who produced a film portraying family members who lost their loved ones in Katyn. This is a story of numerous families, of recollections of how they lost their parents, their grandparents, or their brothers. It's also a story about families who endured the hardships of war and survival. The story depicts the young director's grandparents and his grandfather who was executed, and his grandmother with two young boys who struggled to save their family. Today, we're fortunate to have the opportunity to reflect on all this. We have thousands of children attending Polish schools. I think that's very important in our day and age, to make sure that history is not just buried or rewritten, as oftentimes it is in our society. When someone does not feel comfortable about an issue, they sort of augment the facts. They have a way of coloring the picture, and all of a sudden history is forgotten about or rewritten entirely. That's why we're fortunate to have in this room here people that are just committed for the cause. We have the veterans, and we have historians, we have professors, and we have authors as well. We've got Mr. Adamczyk, who's written several books on this issue. And you know, we're grateful to have folks like this that bring it to light of what's happening within our community, or what's happened, so that we can never forget our history. Today, the children in these Polish schools that we have, and we've got approximately 15,000 children just in the Chicagoland community. And across the country, I can't recite the number of students we have. But they are made aware of this part of Polish history so that they can tell the story. And we, as Poles, we need to make sure that this story is told and remembered as we move forward. I mentioned the Katyn monuments all over the country that are built. Some of them are spectacular. They're spectacular. The one in Maryland, the one in New Jersey, even the one in Chicago draws attention. And some are just little plaques in buildings, in veterans' homes, in community squares. But you know something, ladies and gentlemen? They have the same meaning, whether large or small. They're a symbol of truth and freedom. And they serve as a reminder to all of us that this kind of genocide should never, never occur again. The truth must be remembered. Thank you for your attention this morning.